Hi, garden friend. You know, I used to think control made me a better gardener, but the opposite was true. The moment I stopped fighting my garden, everything changed. The plants, the soil, and even me. In this video, you're going to see how I learned to let nature take the lead, and I'll share 5 practical ways that you can stop fighting your garden too, including tools and tips I actually use here in my Pacific Northwest garden. So if you're ready, let's go, shall we? You see, here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, which is hardiness zone 8B to 9A, the garden has kind of a mind of its own. There's the rain, moss, slugs, and those surprise seedlings. It all comes with the territory here in Oregon. For years, I tried to control everything. Perfect pruning, clearing away every leaf, keeping beds tidy. But nature doesn't really care what I have in mind. Once I started working with my garden instead of against it, it became more beautiful and a lot less work. One spring, it all felt overwhelming. Weeds were everywhere, the slugs were winning, and it was raining non-stop. I was always behind. One morning, with a cup of coffee in hand, I thought, maybe the problem isn't the garden, maybe it's me. I stopped pulling every single weed and trimming every edge. I just started watching. I noticed what plants thrived naturally. The foxgloves, ferns filling shady corners, moss covering bare spots. The garden had been quietly showing me what it wanted all along. Now this part of the garden actually started out looking a lot different than what it looks like today. It started out with a pile of bricks and grass, and I transformed it into this. But here are a few photos while it was being transformed from a pile of bricks and grass to what it is today. You know, when I stopped trying to control everything, nature actually started cooperating. I stopped raking every single leaf. I stopped cutting some things back, and I let the garden breathe. And suddenly, the garden seemed to balance itself. The soil came alive with more worms, richer compost, healthier plants. I started mixing native plants like sword ferns and bleeding hearts with my favorite cottage plants like hellebores and salvias. The garden started actually designing itself. It was softer, wilder, more interesting. Oh, by the way, if you want to make letting your garden lead a little easier, I've included some of my favorite tools and must-haves in the description below. All the things I actually use in my garden. Now this is my beautiful vine maple. It is a native tree here in Oregon. And as you can see, it gets beautiful red branching on it. I absolutely love it. You know, I used to think gardening was all about control, perfect timing, pruning, and order. But now I see it as a collaboration. When I stopped fighting my garden, I found peace, beauty, and a deeper connection to the seasons. The rain doesn't bother me so much anymore, and the moss doesn't even frustrate me. Even the slugs have their place. The garden, in all its imperfection, reflects life itself. And if you're enjoying this journey and want to see more ways to garden with nature, please hit the subscribe button now. Leave a comment too. That would be awesome. I love hearing from you. So when I stopped trying to control everything, something amazing happened. Here's what happens when you stop fighting your garden. It stops fighting you. Now I spend less time battling weeds and more time noticing life. Bees are in the salvias, hummingbirds are in the fuchsias, even the slugs feed the birds. My garden feels like a living ecosystem, not a project, but a space to coexist. You know, the moss that used to frustrate me? Now it's beautiful. It's not about perfection for me anymore. It's about a connection with nature. Do you want to add some vibrant color to your garden this season? Let's talk about 3 easy-to-grow flowers from seed that bring instant summer pops. Agastache, yarrow, and the sunflowers. Agastache is easy to grow from seed. I grew these 2 years ago from seed. And yarrow is terrific too. The sunflowers are super easy to start. All you have to do is pop a seed in the ground. And if you've ever considered trying native plants, feast your eyes on this. Now, this is a native here in the state of Oregon, and it's called a goat's beard, and it gets very unusual flowers on it. Now, there's the spent bloom there, and look how beautiful that autumn color is. And this tall one here is called a mahonia, and that gets beautiful yellow blooms on top, and that is the state flower for Oregon. I've also got a variety of other plants here, including a fern and several sarcococa, which is a sweet box. Now, that's not a native plant. However, I wanted some evergreen structure here for the winter time. And I've also planted a small rhododendron. I'll probably have to transplant that. So the leaves have fallen off of this beautiful little vine maple here, and it's going to get a reddish color bark on it like the other vine maple that we looked at. And I've got a Nootka rose and another Oregon grape over here. And that's my native bed. And I've got a western hemlock over here. And I started that from a quart pot. So trying native plants is a good way to go, and they're usually very drought tolerant. So check in your area for what native plants that you have to pick from. Now, here are the 5 practical ways that I stopped fighting my garden. Number 1, observe first. Just spend a season watching where the water runs and what thrives naturally. Number 2, don't over prune. Just let plants find their natural shape, and it's better for wildlife and beauty. Number 3, you can compost in place by leaving the leaves and stems to break down where they fall. That equals free mulch and nutrients. Number 4, mix natives with your favorites. Natives anchor the ecosystem. Cottage plants add charm. And number 5, embrace imperfection. A garden doesn't need to be tidy to thrive. It just needs to be alive. If you're gardening here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, or anywhere nature seems to have the upper hand, just try letting go a little this season. Please don't forget to check the description for my favorite tools and must-haves for your own garden. I hope this has given you some inspiration today. I hope you're having a great gardening day, and I'll catch you in the next one.